The ring was more than a battlefield for Muhammad Ali. It was a stage where pride, politics, pain, and purpose collided. He was not just a boxer, he was a symbol of defiance, wit, and courage. Every opponent he faced represented something larger than a title. They were shadows of struggle, reflections of his time, and mirrors of his evolution. His rivalries defined eras, divided fans, and shaped the myth of the greatest. From Sonny Liston's intimidating power to Joe Frazier's relentless heart, from George Foreman's monstrous strength to Larry Holmes's cruel precision, Ali's path was carved through battles that tested more than skill. It tested soul. Each of these 6 men stood in his way with fists raised, eyes unflinching. But what made these rivalries unforgettable wasn't just who won or lost. It was the emotion, the politics, the humanity behind every blow. Their clashes weren't just about the sport. They were about survival, respect, and legacy. As we step into these stories, we uncover not just fights, but wars of character. These are the 6 enemies who defined Muhammad Ali and, in the process, helped him become immortal. 1. Sonny Liston. When Muhammad Ali faced Sonny Liston in 1964, the world saw it as a mismatch, a loudmouth kid against a terrifying champion. Liston was feared like no other, a man who had learned brutality in the streets and refined it in the ring. He was built like a statue, his jab like a hammer, his reputation enough to make most opponents wilt before the first punch. But Ali, then Cassius Clay, wasn't like most men. He was young, brash, and fearless. He taunted Liston in every interview, calling him a big ugly bear and promising to float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. When the first bell rang, Liston charged, but Ali danced. His movement was poetry in motion, fast, unpredictable, infuriating. Liston threw bombs, but they met air. By the 6th round, Ali's punches began to land cleanly. Liston's eyes swelled, his confidence cracked. Between rounds, he refused to come out. Ali screamed to the crowd, "I'm the greatest!" The upset shocked the world. But when they met again in 1965, the rivalry turned controversial. Ali's infamous phantom punch dropped Liston in the first round, a knockout so quick it looked unreal. Conspiracy theories followed, but Ali didn't care. To him, Liston symbolized the old order: fear, intimidation, and silence. Beating him meant breaking that chain forever. That night, the kid from Louisville became a legend, and the world of boxing would never look the same. 2. Joe Frazier. If Sonny Liston was Ali's doorway to greatness, Joe Frazier was the man who forced him to earn it. Their rivalry was raw, emotional, and deeply personal. Frazier was everything Ali wasn't: quiet, humble, hardworking, and grounded. But when Ali refused the Vietnam draft, calling the war unjust, he was stripped of his title and banned from boxing. During those years, Frazier carried the torch of heavyweight boxing and even helped Ali financially when no one else would. Yet, when Ali returned, he repaid Frazier's kindness with insults. He called him an Uncle Tom, mocked his speech, and painted him as a pawn of the establishment. Frazier took it personally. Their first fight in 1971, the fight of the century, was one of the most anticipated events in history. Ali tried to outdance Frazier, but Smokin' Joe kept coming, relentless, brutal, unbreakable. In the 15th round, Frazier unleashed his iconic left hook, sending Ali crashing to the canvas. Ali rose, but the decision was clear. Frazier had beaten the greatest. Their rematch in 1974 saw Ali win by decision, but the true war came in 1975 in Manila. The thriller in Manila was pure madness. 14 rounds of punishment so fierce that both men came close to collapse. Frazier's face was swollen shut. Ali's body was battered. When Frazier's corner finally stopped the fight, Ali won, but barely. He later said it was the closest thing to dying he'd ever felt. Their rivalry scarred them both physically and emotionally, but it also immortalized them as warriors who pushed each other beyond human limits. 3. George Foreman. In 1974, George Foreman was an unstoppable force, young, powerful, and terrifying. He had demolished Joe Frazier and Ken Norton in just 2 rounds each. When he faced Muhammad Ali in Zaire for the Rumble in the Jungle, almost no one believed Ali could survive, let alone win. Foreman's punches were like thunder, capable of ending fights in seconds. Ali knew he couldn't outmuscle him, so he outthought him. From the opening bell, Ali leaned on the ropes, letting Foreman pound his arms and body, a shocking strategy the world would later call the rope-a-dope. Each round, Foreman grew more frustrated, his punches slower, his breathing heavier. Meanwhile, Ali whispered taunts. "Is that all you got, George?" The crowd chanted, "Ali Bomaye! Ali, kill him!" By the 8th round, Foreman was exhausted. Ali saw his opening and unleashed a flurry of punches that sent the giant crashing to the canvas. The world erupted. Ali had done the impossible. It wasn't just a victory, it was psychological warfare at its finest. Foreman's defeat broke his aura of invincibility. Years later, Foreman admitted that loss changed his life. It humbled him, reshaped him, and even led him toward faith and peace. The two men eventually became close friends, but in 1974, they were pure enemies, two titans clashing in one of the most extraordinary fights the world had ever seen. For Ali, beating Foreman wasn't just about reclaiming the title. It was about proving that brains could conquer brawn, that courage could outlast power, and that belief could rewrite destiny. 4. Ken Norton. Ken Norton was one of the few men who truly scared Muhammad Ali, not because of brute strength, but because of his unpredictability and resilience. Norton wasn't a household name when they first fought in 1973, but he shocked the world by breaking Ali's jaw in the 2nd round and winning by decision. Ali had underestimated him, and it cost him dearly. Norton's unorthodox style, his crab-like defense and looping right hand, baffled Ali throughout their trilogy. He wasn't intimidated by Ali's words, nor his fame. He fought with calm precision and cold focus. In their 2nd meeting, Ali fought with revenge in his heart. He moved faster, jabbed sharper, and won a close decision. But the rubber match in 1976 at Yankee Stadium was controversial. Many believed Norton deserved the win. Even Ali admitted, "He beat me." The judges saw it differently, awarding Ali the victory. What made this rivalry unique was how much Ali respected Norton despite their battles. Norton exposed Ali's vulnerabilities, his fading reflexes, his overconfidence, and his human side. Ali later called him one of the toughest men I ever fought. Their fights weren't filled with hatred, but rather a grudging acknowledgement of greatness on both sides. Norton represented the challenger who reminded the world, and Ali himself, that no legend is untouchable. Every time they met, Ali had to dig deeper into his bag of genius and willpower. Their rivalry lacked the drama of Frazier or the spectacle of Foreman, but it was pure boxing chess, and it proved that even the greatest could be tested to the brink by a man who refused to bow to myth. 5. Larry Holmes. By 1980, Muhammad Ali was no longer the same. Time had slowed his legs, dulled his reflexes, and softened his once lightning-fast hands. Yet his pride refused to fade. When he faced Larry Holmes, a former sparring partner, the fight was tragic. Holmes idolized Ali, but once the bell rang, admiration vanished. He was there to destroy his hero. From the 1st round, Holmes dominated. His jab was cruelly efficient, snapping Ali's head back again and again. Ali barely threw punches, his body couldn't respond. The crowd, once roaring, fell into uneasy silence. Each round was painful to watch, the younger man punishing the legend he had once looked up to. Holmes begged the referee to stop it, shouting, "I love him too much to keep hitting him," but Ali's corner refused. The fight continued until the 10th round when Angelo Dundee, Ali's trainer, finally stopped it. Ali slumped on the stool, defeated, humiliated, and broken. Holmes cried after the match, devastated by what he'd done. But it wasn't his fault. Time was Ali's true enemy that night. The man who once danced and taunted could no longer move as he used to. Yet even in defeat, Ali's dignity remained intact. He took the loss without excuses, proving that greatness wasn't only about victory, but also about how one faced decline. The Holmes fight was the saddest chapter in Ali's rivalry history, the night the world realized that even legends are mortal. 6. Leon Spinks. Leon Spinks was young, wild, and fearless when he faced Muhammad Ali in 1978. With only 7 professional fights under his belt, he wasn't supposed to win. Ali was the veteran, the master, the icon. But Spinks fought like a man who didn't know fear. From the first round, he pressed forward relentlessly, throwing punches from every angle. Ali, at 36, underestimated him, believing experience would prevail. But the younger man's hunger was too strong. For 15 grueling rounds, Spinks outworked Ali. His energy never faded, his courage never wavered. When the final bell rang, the judges awarded Spinks a split decision victory. The boxing world was stunned. Ali, the greatest, had lost to a rookie. But Ali didn't sulk. He smiled, shook Spinks' hand, and promised to return. 7 months later, he did just that. In their rematch in New Orleans, Ali came prepared. This time, he fought smart, staying outside, controlling the pace, and using his jab like a scalpel. Spinks chased, but couldn't catch him.